All right, this is section 6.0D. We're going to talk about negative exponents today. All right, here's the rule. Negative exponents can be written using the positive exponent using the negative exponent rule. So to write x to the negative a power without a negative exponent, you would write it as a denominator of a fraction like this and make it positive. So 1 over x to the a power. That may be a little confusing, so I'm going to show you why this is what this is. So follow me. I'm going to show you a pattern. So 2 to the third is 8. 2 squared is 4. So 4 is half of 8. I'm sorry, this is squared, not to the fourth. 2 to the first power is 2, which is half of 4. 2 to the 0 power, what's half of 2? Well, that's 1. And we talked about the other day that anything to the 0 power is 1. If we keep going in that pattern, 2 to the negative first power is half of 1, which is 1/2. And look at that. It's 1 over 2 to the positive first power. So we took that negative exponent and we made it positive and put it in the denominator. So now let's continue that pattern. 2 to the negative second power. What's half of a half? Well, it's a fourth. And lo and behold, it's 1 over 2 to the positive second power, or 1 to the fourth. We'll do one more. 2 to the negative third power. What is half of a fourth? Well, that's an eighth, or 1 over 2 to the positive third power. So that's why that's the rule for negative exponents. So let's do some more examples. Where were we? Here. Let me get a different color pen. Expressions say rewrite each expression using positive exponents. So x to the negative fifth power becomes 1 over x to the positive fifth power. 3m to the negative second power becomes 3 over m to the negative second power, because 3 is really 3 over 1. So remember, only the variable that negative exponent is attached to gets that. So negative 7a to the negative fourth, b to the third, becomes negative 7b cubed, because it's positive, and then everything that's negative becomes positive, but it goes to the opposite of where you started. So this was the numerator, it goes down to the denominator. All right, moving on. Maybe. All right. So it's really important to follow all the rules that we learned first and then move the exponent if it's negative. Because sometimes when you follow the rules, you don't end up with a negative. So when you're multiplying, we add. So you have w to the 7 plus negative 9 power was w to the negative second power, which becomes 1 over w squared. Number 5. So let's multiply first. I have 4 times 5, which is 20. Multiply the coefficients. I have c to the 8 plus negative 5 power, d to the negative 3 plus, this is a plus, sorry, negative 1 power, which gives me 20 c cubed, and then d to the negative fourth. So now the only thing that goes to the denominator is the variable with the negative exponent, and then you make it positive. 6x to the eighth times negative 3x cubed becomes negative 18, because 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. X to the 8 plus 3 power. So nothing changes here. There are no negative exponents. Oh, this was negative. I lied. I couldn't see it. So sorry, 8 plus, and this is also negative. So this becomes negative 18. Let me erase this junk. I couldn't see the negative sign. Sorry. I'm going to have to be careful about that as I go along. Okay, so I have negative 18 x to the negative 8 plus negative 3, which gives me negative 18 x to the negative 11. So the negative 18 stays in the numerator, x to the positive 11. Sorry about that. I got to check the signs here. Okay, so number 7. I have a to the negative 5th power plus 7, b to the 8 plus negative 3, c to the negative 12 plus 7, which gives me a squared plus 5, no, plus b to the 5th, sorry. Hold on. A squared, b to the 5th, c to the negative 5th. So anything with a negative exponent is a squared, b to the 5th. That goes to the bottom and make it positive. All right, moving on. Number 8, this is power of a power, and it looks like this is a very shadowy negative sign. So we're going to multiply. So I have 8 to the negative 2nd power, p to the 5 times negative 2, which is negative 10 power. Remember, anything with a negative exponent, not a negative in front of it, goes to the denominator. So I have 1 over 8 squared, p to the 10th, which is 1 over 64 p to the 10th. Let's do number 9. I have 5 to the negative 3rd, y to the 2 times negative 3 power. So I have 1 over 5 cubed y to the 6th. So 5 cubed is 125 y to the 6th. So 1 over 125 y to the 6th. Number 10, 3 to the negative 4th, r to the negative 4th, s to the negative 3 times negative 4. So I have, let me rewrite this. So this stays negative, this stays negative, but when you multiply these together, it becomes positive. So I'm going to keep that positive exponent, s to the 12th up here. I have 3 to the 4th, r to the 4th. 3 to the 4th happens to be 81. So I have s to the 12th, 81, r to the 4th. Final answer. Number 11. I have 6 to the negative 2nd, x to the 5 times negative 2, y to the negative 4 times negative 2. So I have 6 to the negative 2nd, x to the negative 10th, y to the 8th. So I have 1 over 6 squared, x to the 10th, and I'm going to leave that y to the 8th up here. So I have y to the 8th over 36x to the 10th. Okay, let's do some division. So I have h to the 2 minus 3 power, which is h to the negative, that's a 5, sorry. 2 minus 5 power, which gives me h to the negative 3rd, which is 1 over h cubed. Let me check these negative signs here. This is a negative, this is, and so is that. So I have c to the negative 2 minus 7 power, d to the negative 1 minus 2 power, which gives me c to the negative 9th, d to the negative 3rd, which is 1, over c to the 9th, d to the 3rd. You know, let's back up the chalk. This is negative. Gosh, I'm sorry. Here, go back here. I'm missing these negative signs. So this is minus negative 2. So this becomes positive. Okay. C to the negative 2 minus 7, d to the negative 1 plus 2. So now I have c to the negative 9th, d to the positive 1st. So I have d to the 1st, or just d, over c to the 9th. All right. Let me see, 14. It looks like this is the only negative piece. So I'm going to take 14 and divide by 7, which is 2. W to the 4 minus negative 2 power, which is 2w to the 6th. Because when I add these, when I subtract, that becomes positive, so no need to make anything into a fraction. So let me check my negative signs here for number 15. Looks like negative 5 is it. All right, so negative 10 divided by 2, that's not a negative exponent. That's just a negative sign. So I have negative 5, m to the 2 minus 3 power, n to the 1 minus negative 5 power. So this is plus. So I have negative 5, m to the negative 1st, n to the 6th. So I have negative 5, n to the 6th over m, or just m to the 1st, or just m. Okay. Let's see if we can in 2 more before we have to stop and go to another part. So I have 36 divided by 12, which is 3, x to the negative 4th, y to the 8 minus 7. So 3x to the negative 4th, y to the 1st. So now I have the 3 and the y that stay on the top, and the x to the negative 4th becomes x to the 4th flipped to the bottom. So 15 over 18 gets reduced to 5/6. So I have a to the 2 minus 2, so those cancel. So I have b to the 5 minus 3, c to the 8 minus 9. Okay, this gives me 5b squared c to the negative 1st over 6. Now I got to push that c down because it's negative. 5b squared over 6c. Okay, negative 4/8 gets reduced to negative 1/2. We're just going to leave that negative sign there. That's not a negative exponent. So I have p to the 1 minus 2 power, q to the 5 minus 3 power, r to the 3 minus 10 power. Let me make sure I didn't miss any negative signs in there. I don't think I did. So now I have negative 1/2 p to the negative 1st, q squared, r to the negative 7. So anything with a negative gets pushed down. So I have negative q squared left on the top, and 2p r to the 7th on the bottom. All right, let's stop here.